Right, Peter, welcome to Let's Talk Automotive and our featured car of the week, the newly upgraded Suzuki Swift.
And in this case, we've got the GLX version. And I've been quite looking forward to driving this because this has got the new motor, the new 1.2.
Yes.
The previous Swifts that I've driven have all had the 1.5.
The previous generation.
The previous generation, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, Peter, so a couple of minor changes to the exterior of the car. A couple of things that we'll go through quickly, but let's start at the front here. This new grille, what do you think?
It looks nice and aggressive.
And this new chrome strip here is also new to this update.
Yeah, so it splits the grille up into two sections now, so it looks the part.
Right, and then if we look at the front, the GL and the GLX models got the fog lights.
Yep, so that's a nice addition.
If we move to the side here, the 15-inch alloy wheels, nice and aggressive, a new design on this model, which really brings it very close to, if you look at the exterior of this car, it looks very much like almost like the Swift Sport.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. And that was a great car to drive, wasn't it? Yeah.
Right, something new that's now an option is the dual tone colors. So you get I think it's called midnight blue and this red and all the colors, but with the option of the dual tone, which is...
So that's part of the upgrade, is the color palette has changed as well.
Correct. Right, Pete, normal stuff like we used to is keyless entry.
Yeah.
Keyless entry, start-stop button, all the bells and whistles, but exterior-wise, good-looking car, but I think we must get in and drive it.
Absolutely. I take dibs on driving.
Inside the Suzuki Swift, this new, let's call it a mild upgrade facelift. What do we call it?
Well, I tell you what, Suzuki's calling it a mild upgrade, but I got to tell you, I think that there's more to this than just a mild upgrade. If we go through some of the specification that they've changed.
Yeah, I agree. I was lucky enough, like we said in the show a couple of weeks ago, to join the team for the launch on the day, for the media launch, and yes, everybody said exactly the same. I think they underplayed this a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's a good thing. You're going to under promise, over deliver. You're going to have delighted customers.
Absolutely. Okay, so your first impression, we're going to take a drive out to the highway just now, but your first impression getting into the car?
Yeah, it's a nice solid feel to the car. So the way it drives, the little bit of handling that I've experienced, the car feels bigger than I suppose it is.
Yeah,
so it feels very sturdy on the road, nice and quiet. They've done a great job with the sound deadening and dampening. So
yes.
All's well.
My first impression getting into the Swift is that I enjoy the fact that I feel at home in the Suzuki. We've had the Vitara Brezzo, we've had the Jimny, we've had the Espresso, and you can definitely feel like you're at home.
Yeah, so there's a consistent sort of golden thread of the way the car's laid out, the features that are in the car, very typical Suzuki, I suppose.
And one thing that always impresses me, from the smallest to the biggest, is the space in the car. You know, we two big guys, me a little bit bigger than you, but we don't feel like we cramped, and it's a small car.
Not at all. So it's nice headroom. Yeah, awesome.
Let's take it onto the highway and also experience, because I think this is a city type of car, but I think more than capable to do the long trips as well. And I've actually driven. I worked with Suzuki in the past, and one thing that's very important to state here, Pete, is fuel consumption.
Ah, yes. Okay, so this is a 1.2 litre normally aspirated motor.
Yep.
So, upon hearing that, I was a little bit skeptical about, even with a car this size, how would this cope?
Yes.
And on the reef. So we're a little bit more asthmatic on the reef.
Yes.
So far, so good. The fuel consumption that is quoted is 4.9 litres per 100 kilometres. Now, I am, like most people, a little bit skeptical about what is stated on paper and what translates into reality. So you've got more experience with this. So what is the actual net result in terms of fuel consumption?
Let me tell you that I've actually gotten a little bit better than that out of the car, doing a little bit of an economy drive, to try and see how low you can actually get it. So one thing that I think Suzuki can be very proud of is that the stated fuel consumption is the actual fuel consumption in this car driven in normal conditions.
Wow. Okay.
I think the golden rule here is the power to weight ratio in this car. I think the car is still light enough so that this powertrain can actually give us the performance that we need.
Yeah.
And we actually asked them, what about a 1 liter turbo type of option on this car? And I think Suzuki's hit it exactly on the head when it comes to that. A turbo in this car would then again take it out of competitor
Price
segment
range, yeah.
and price range. And it's not necessary, let's be honest.
It's not. So first of all, so there's 2 big male adults sitting in this vehicle. We've got the aircon on full steam to cool us down. We add altitude, and very comfortably, I've now got to 120 kilometers an hour on the road. We are on a slight uphill, so normally the car would battle, this is a kind of a test to see if it can maintain that 120, and it's doing it. So one of the standout features for me on the GLX is the fact that it's got an automatic air conditioning system. And we've spoken about this before. It is a safer system, and it's a more efficient system in terms of cooling the vehicle. So that's one thing that I enjoy. And then, of course, we have a rear reversing camera.
On the GLX model, that's now standard. So you get a reverse camera, high definition reverse camera. This sort of infotainment system is again something that we've become used to in the Suzukis. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto standard feature. You've got all the bells and whistles, USB ports at the bottom there, power sockets.
And that power socket, as Mornay actually pointed out to me, is 120 watt power socket. So it's a nice, powerful socket that you can plug in
and charge
some heavy duty type of equipment, like a fridge, for example. Because a lot of people forget that if you overload that, it's gonna pop fuses or worse.
Correct. So all in all, Pete, I think a very happy place to be.
Well, I'm enjoying the handling of this, but we did also experience this when we took the Swift Sport out.
Yes.
And we had some fun on the skid pan. So it's bringing back some memories. So it's nice to see that it doesn't have to be the Swift Sport for you to enjoy actually some of the dynamics of the car itself.
Correct. All right, Pete, I'm behind the wheel now. Are you scared?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have faith.
All right, one major update or upgrade, if we can call it that, is that ESP is now also standard on the new Swift.
And that's a feature that I believe every vehicle should have. It is an expensive feature still, although the price has started to come down with economies of scale. But talking about price, so we've got ESP, obviously ABS, EBD, which is electronic brake force distribution, and
just
BIS.
for the people that don't know, what is ESP?
ESP, Electronic Stability Program, and that's a system. It's a remarkable system. It corrects a skid. So if you understeer with brake intervention, just like you would turn a wheelchair by braking one side of the wheel, ESP works exactly the same way. So if I'm understeering, it's going to brake one of the back wheels, depending on which direction I'm understeering. And if I'm oversteering, it's going to brake one of the front wheels to correct the skid.
Is it traction control, or is it similar to traction control?
So traction control is a subsystem of ESP.
Okay.
Traction control regulates the spinning of the driven wheels.
Okay.
And in different circumstances, you want different levels of spin.
Okay.
But ultimately, you don't want to spin too much.
Sure.
Because then you've lost traction, and that's where the traction control.
Okay.
So traction control does not correct a skid. ESP corrects a skid with brake intervention.
All right, Pete, so we've looked at the exterior and the upgrades and what we've come to expect from Suzuki. We've had a very lekker drive now. It's performed exactly like we expected it to. I think it's time to give it a rating 1 out of 10 in its segment.
I'm going to change things up a little bit, Fani. Instead of giving it a rating from 1 out of 10, I'm going to start my ratings, my way of categorizing a car, to rather be, would I buy this car?
Okay.
Because...
So is it a simple yes or no?
It's a simple yes or no. Would I buy this car, yes or no?
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if you want to do it that way, or if you want to still have your rating from 1 to 10.
No, we
Well,
can...
I've thrown you a bit of a curveball.
You've thrown me a bit of a curveball. Because I agree with you. Let's do both. Let's do both.
All right.
Because let's give it a rating. 1 out of 10. What would you rate this car 1 out of 10 in its segment?
Sure. Okay, so in its segment, again, I'm going to rate it very highly. You know, we sometimes get criticized for it, but I mean, in a segment, what does this compete against? You know, what comes close to this in terms of price, in terms of the features, reliability, all those good things. I mean, that's the other thing, by the way, that we didn't mention, was that it's got a 5-year, 200,000 kilometer introductory warranty.
Yes.
So again, Suzuki putting their money where their mouth is. We know how reliable these cars are.
Correct. And on that note, a standard 2-year, 30,000 kilometer service plan, which you can upgrade if you want to.
So, you know, it ticks all the boxes. I actually can't find any negatives on the car. So if I'm doing negative marking,
yeah,
I mean, I can't say it's a 10 because I've got to find something wrong, although I can't tell you what it is now. So I'm gonna make it a 9, and yes, I would buy this car.
Okay, I'm exactly where you are, because really, if the viewers out there can come and help us maybe to find some negatives here,
Absolutely,
they can come and tell us or comment or leave us their thoughts. But I would also give it a 9 out of 10, a solid 9 out of 10, and I would definitely buy this car. All right, Pete, on that note, that's all from us this week and our thoughts on the new upgraded Suzuki Swift, and we'll see you guys again next time.
Cheers, everyone.